All right, well, now that we're talking about Yeat versus Carti, so let's go to Anthony Fantano. I'm saying his name correctly this time. Anthony Fantano tweeted this morning something that went viral, and it should have went viral because it was a take like no other. He was essentially saying that Yeat's Afterlife album was better than A Whole Lot of Red. I gotta give him a follow just for like all of his hot takes. Where is it? Did he delete it? There's no way he deleted it, bruh. Aiden Ross seems like he sucks. He didn't delete it. Scrolled. Okay. He didn't delete it. New Yeat is better than A Whole Lot of Red. Obviously goes viral because Yeat is like the hottest sensation right now in the game. 70K projected first week sales for Afterlife. And it's not like he's got a whole bunch of, I mean, he had a big rollout, don't get me wrong, because he has a lot of hype and anticipation behind his name, but he didn't have to do it for 2 to 3 years, and he still, I mean, I think similarly, Yeat's project does have like a theme to it. It makes me feel like, honestly, compared to Eternal Take, I know Eternal Take had the skits with like the alien abductions and whatnot, but I feel more like I'm in a spaceship with Yeat's project than Uzi. Uzi just had the skits, but Yeat, like the sounds, the Benny X production, I'm telling you, man, I feel like I'm abducted instantly. They're in my ass currently, and it's fire. I love Afterlife. I've been listening to it constantly. Other than recently, I started listening to the Don Toliver project just because I wanted to get in tune. And actually, it's not as bad as people are saying. They're saying it's mid. I think y'all are just giving into the hype of Yeat. I did like the Yeat project though, so I'm trying to be objective for all of it. But anyway, compared to A Whole Lot of Red, I think you can't compare it at all, because Whole Lot of Red started like a era in the underground, and not even underground, but like in music in general. And so Yeat, as we've discussed, I don't think it applies anymore, but he kind of came off the Whole Lot of Red beats, as we all know, we've discussed so many times. The whole what are the projects that he dropped? Up to Me, but like even the one before that with 4L, it dropped like a couple weeks after Whole Lot of Red, if I recall. It might not be 4L, but it's one of the projects that came out, and that was when Yeat really started blowing up, especially because he just project after project after project. And then Up to Me even had a lot of production from working on Dying with like Filthy. And so again, that came off of the sound of Whole Lot of Red, even though it did have its own unique style to it. Now, Afterlife, I think that Anthony Fantano, of course, is gonna like it more, because Whole Lot of Red is more like, actually, I feel like Fantano likes unique things, right? He's not really a rap listener. He's like a more overall music nerd, as he says. And A Whole Lot of Red pushes the boundaries more than Yeat, but Yeat, for the average rap listener, I feel like they would like it more, because it's not like it's not regular rap, but it's like more digestible than Whole Lot of Red. Like, you gotta be a vamp to listen to Whole Lot of Red. You gotta be spreading garlic all over your bread every single night. You gotta be sleeping in your casket to be listening to a Whole Lot of Red. And don't get me wrong, I like Whole Lot of Red, but I even played it coming back from the casino 2 days ago after I lost a rack. I was pissed. But I was showing people, because we were arguing about how like rap was way more popular than EDM, and they were like, no, bro. I'm like, bro, Carti's selling 100K. Your DJs aren't even like touching billboards. So I'm like, so anyway, I started playing a Whole Lot of Red. I was like, this ain't the crowd to be playing this in front of, because they were just giving me looks, and I'm like, God. This definitely is very niche music, but again, so if you play Yeat, it's almost similar to like more Uzi Future type music, whereas again, Carti's like he's on the outskirts of rap. Like, it's almost like alternative in some cases. You know what I'm saying? So again, I can see how Anthony Fantano would like it more than A Whole Lot of Red, or rather just the overall general listener on the radio, in the playlist, and whatnot. And Yeat is actually rapping, whereas Carti, he kind of dumbs it down more than Yeat. So it takes a special type of person to like Carti, but when they do like Carti, they love Carti. Yeat is less accessible than Carti. I disagree. I think Carti's older music was more palatable, let's say. Like Die Lit was like his most palatable music because it kind of had more mainstream sounds. It even had like Travis Scott and Bryson Tiller on it, Uzi, like Shuda. Like people love Shuda, like the mainstream. Whereas Whole Lotta Red, I'm sorry, but it's a crazy concept. I love it. I love the whole vampire aesthetic. But the average person isn't gonna turn that on the average day. Like maybe Halloween, but not any 355 other days of the year. Do I think Uzi's old stuff is more niche? That's a good question. Cause yeah, I do, but I also personally liked it way more. But now with Just Wanna Rock, he's still doing big numbers, and Eternal Take, he's doing bigger numbers than what he was doing before. So honestly, I see why Uzi's doing what he's doing, because it's doing bigger numbers than what he did before. You know, although Money Longer and some of the other hits from Lil Uzi Vert vs. The World, they hit Billboard like organically. Whereas Eternal Take, a lot of the songs got on Billboard, but then they fell off very quickly. Whereas the previous songs earlier on in his career kind of like built up, especially like EXO Tour Life 2. That was his most mainstream. So nah, I say his old music was pretty mainstream. But overall, in conclusion, new Yeat, is it better than Whole Lotta Red? To the average listener, I could see why someone would say that, but I don't think you can put it in the same category whatsoever, because Carti walked so Yeat could run. Once Carti did A Whole Lotta Red, broke down the gates to hell, Yeat just starts prancing in, and it made everything so much easier. Not taking away any credit from Yeat, because he's one of my favorite artists, but it's just not as weird to rap on more futuristic, different beats. You know what I'm saying? Whole Lotta Red changed the new upcoming sound, and I think we all know that. Is the deluxe confirmed? It seems to me, because Yeat posted this on a story, keep going, might do a little deluxe. And by the way, someone in the chat said, is Yeat bigger than Carti? Now, we discussed that Yeat could pass Carti in the next couple of years, but it's not really dependent. But Carti's about to drop a project, and it's gonna be huge. But with the trajectory that Yeat's hitting right now, and if Carti continues waiting, if Yeat drops another project in like a year and Carti, you know, I know he's supposed to drop this summer, but who knows, man? Yeat could end up dropping another thing. Afterlife. What's after Afterlife? Like in Lil Nas X's ass, because he's, you know, dating Satan. And then he gets over 100K. Like, the Carti fan's gonna be in shambles, man. It's not gonna be fun anymore. Because they won't have any excuses. Yeat already got like the total number of streams, or he's killing it. He's very influential, I'm not gonna lie. He's passing mainstream rappers with little to no features, just NBA Youngboy. And again, not taking anything away from Carti, because I just went on that rant about Whole Lotta Red being a totally different level than Afterlife. You can't even compare the two albums until, let's say, 6 months from now, when you see all the newer generation rappers like Rollin' Thrax, Hard Rock, etc., to see if they're on the Yeat sound. But right now they're on the Destroy Lonely. But who knows? They could start hopping on like Benny X type production. Once that happens, you'll be able to compare. But currently, it's too soon, man. It's too soon. Yeat is carried by beats. Well, you could say that about legit every single rapper in this lane. I'm not gonna lie. People can say that about Carti. In fact, they do say that about Carti. Them streams are bought. Are you crazy, bro? I agree that a lot of rappers have fake streams, in that, you know, the whole Atlantic scandal, but pretty much every rapper does it the same amount. And you can't deny the amount of talk. Like, I don't even necessarily care about the numbers per se, but the conversation, you can just feel it. Like, how many people are tweeting about a certain subject? How many people were talking about the Yeat project, whether they liked it or not? Like, you just know that Yeat is huge at this point. I don't care if the streams are bought. Everybody's buying streams. Like, even if you subtract 50K from everybody's sales, like, his sales are still probably higher than Don Toliver's, even with Don Toliver having a Justin Bieber and Future feature on there. But yeah, he's in his own lane at this point. I truly think that he's like he's solidified in the game right now. He's mainstream. I'm pretty sure like everybody, let's see some. Did academics talk about Yeat? He's already talked about him in streams. I've even seen him talk about Sofago, but I want to see if he posted like his sales or something, because this is like the indicator that you're mainstream, in my opinion. Academics post a lot though, so I don't know. Oh, right here. Okay, Yeat #1, y'all. Let's see, 18,000 likes versus Glorilla's ass. You can't really beat that. But okay, I wouldn't say Yeat is mainstream in like the street side yet. Like, he's still somewhat our niche, like on the, what is it called, like swag rap almost, or like internet type rap. I am blind, yes, I actually do need glasses, but he's getting there, man. He's getting there. And the thing is, I think the reason that we like these internet rappers too is that they almost bring new things to the table, because it is the internet, it is the innovation. Whereas street side of things, like, we could get a new Lil Baby, we could get a new NBA Youngboy, but really they're kind of, no offense, doing the same things. They're like, you know, they're on the street side of things. What is his name, like K Flock or something? Just got arrested for however many years. There's a whole bunch of other people, but they're all kind of rapping about the same thing. Whereas on the internet side, it's not necessarily about what you're rapping about. It's like the new sounds, like the new production. Benny X and Whole Lotta Red being a vamp style album. You could say the same thing about all these SoundCloud Yeat clones, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about the biggest artists on this side versus the biggest artists on that side. That's why I think that Lil Baby, even a lot of people are turning on him, because his album, like, yeah, sure, it's doing good numbers wise, but people who actually are music enthusiasts, they know that was kind of just vomit. It was just him rapping the same thing over and over in the same flow. It's the same song that he's been making for the past 2 to 3 years. That's why DaBaby fell off too. You know, the biggest artists on this side are actual artists and musicians. Exactly. Like, they're almost in it for the music rather than, I don't know. It's not that the street rappers are on antics, but it's almost like the persona that people follow. Like, they talk about what they actually do in real life. So it's almost storytelling. And when they do get locked up or do get caught up, the fans like it more, because they're like, oh, he's actually real. He's not lying in his raps like the other side. Well, the other side, they're being creative with it, not necessarily shooting people and then telling the government about it. 2 Alive is his best album. I disagree, man. I'd say Yeat's best project at this point is either this one, Afterlife, or Up to Me. I think Up to Me will always be something crazy because it has so many hits on it, and that was really what blew him up on TikTok with Money So Big, among others, like Sorry About That, and you know, like, there's just, it's like 20 tracks of just banger after banger after banger. But I feel like Afterlife is cooler to me because it's more thematic. It's got more of a cohesive sound and theme to it, whereas Up to Me was just straight hits. It was like a compilation, whereas this one's more of a project, if that makes any sense. I liked Life. There was a couple songs on there, but it got kind of slow on like the latter half for me. And he experimented with the like more low-key rock or like guitar beats in the back, but I think he left that out on Afterlife because maybe they weren't streaming as well. I could check the numbers. Let's see. He had the outro of Afterlife had that. A lot of the rock songs, or not rock, but you know what I'm saying, like the guitar slower songs on Life didn't do as well. But he definitely knows where his swag is at. He knows what people want to hear. I think that's Yeat's true power. When you grow up on the internet and you study the analytics and the numbers, it's almost like what YouTubers and people on Twitter and Instagram do. Like, the reason that a lot of meme pages and everything know what's actually relevant is because we're checking the engagement to see what posts are doing well and why. We see like, oh, this joke worked well with Yeat. The Carti posts continue to do well. Like, let's post more of those. I'm trying to bring up another artist like YBN Namir. You could tell that he was falling off because when you continue posting him throughout the years, like it just stopped working. Like, nobody cares. And so Yeat, I feel like he's looking at all the numbers and being like, okay, what songs on this album did well? Flawless with Uzi, Out the Way, that one blew up on TikTok. I used that instrumental in a lot of my stream clips. Talk, of course, this was a banger. System, those were all futuristic type beats, bruh. So what he do? He took all those, and this is what I tell every artist who's trying to grow. Take all your best songs, figure out why they blew up, okay? All these 5 songs that we just listed has certain like instrument in it, like the alien type. So just make it into a project. Maybe progress it a little bit, but you know the fans are gonna like it. It's a foolproof system. Cyberpunk. Exactly. Why do we only compare Yeat to Carti and no one else? I think the reason that they do that is because Yeat and Carti have the 2 strongest, at least on this internet side of things, fan bases and cults. Uzi obviously has a huge fan base, but I feel like the cult has kind of transferred from Uzi to Carti. They're still fans of Uzi, but it's just not as strong. Let's be objective here. Still love Uzi. Yeat also has that, especially being the new up and comer. And usually when you're a newer artist, you still have the fresh fans, the young fans, the youth, even though Carti got that too. I'd say most Yeat fans are also Carti fans. But because there's like, oh, just like how there was always going to be Uzi and Carti, and still will be because they came up together and both had cult fan bases, it's going to be like that with Yeat until the day that Yeat or Carti surpasses the other, and then like there's no competition. But really there's only conversations around things that are controversial, meaning that there is a debate, as in there's an argument for each side. Whereas people can say that Yeat in the next couple years might be able to surpass Carti, at least numbers wise. Influence wise, that's gonna be hard though, because I feel like Carti is, you know, every artist's favorite artist right now, or rapper, because he's really creating sounds. You heard Lil Yachty. But yeah, in general, I feel like a lot of people, especially with the internet's memes and whatnot, like Ice Spice, everybody likes to compare to Carti because Carti is one of the first rappers on the internet side of things that has relatively lower numbers compared to his influence, just because he doesn't release music as often. And so Ice Spice passed Carti, and that was the first person that was like a big rapper that they passed, because Trippie Redd and Uzi and all these other artists, they have dropped more albums and honestly had bigger songs. I don't know if Trippie has had a bigger song than Carti. I think we talked about that one time, that Carti might actually have a bigger song with like Shooter, but yeah, Carti is the first one in like monthly listeners that a newer artist is going to surpass. So there's always going to be that conversation until Carti drops the next project, and then his monthly listeners skyrocket because everybody's gonna be listening to that. Now, will the perception be good? I don't know, man. I feel like it's gonna be similar to a whole lot of red, because it's gonna be potentially even more grungy or more niche than a whole lot of red was, because he's doubled down on this vamp, king vamp aesthetic. It's gonna be like almost rock, in my opinion. Like Filthy is gonna double down on it. I think that's why they're calling him Lil Wayne, with the prom queen and that era that Wayne went through. And so as much as people are probably more forgiving of Carti, because they already went through the whole lot of red era where everybody was trashing it the first day, first week, and so now he's actually gained a fan base around this sound, or at least people followed him to this sound because they wanted to continue being a fan. But I think it's gonna happen again. Yeat just need a song to top 20 Billboard to compete with Magnolia. Yeah, that's another thing though. Yeat does not have the Magnolia type hit yet. Although, as much as we love to call Carti like the most organic artist ever, Magnolia kind of was like a song that was bigger than him at the time. In New York, I'm Millie Rock. Like everybody knew that song, whereas now I wouldn't say that those people were really listening to any of the Carti's music. Whereas Yeat, like, sure, he doesn't have a big hit currently, although he has everybody listen, like all his fans are listening to like his whole discography. I'm pretty sure Money So Big just got certified platinum, so he's got hits like that are just slowly accruing streams, you know. Become Yeat's personal trainer, bro. That would be a dream job, I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to be at one point, not necessarily an artist, but like celebrity trainer, you know, be their nutritionist real quick, because I feel like a lot of nutritionists and people who study that stuff don't actually know what they're talking about. I'm like, bruh, your nutritionist got a six-pack? I didn't think so. I got you, my boy. Anyway, Money So Big, 200 mil. Sorry about that, 111 mil. What is Magnolia at? It better be at like a bill, 633 mil. But again, that was so long ago. But yeah, there's no denying that Carti's a bigger artist. But look at that, 16 mil versus 11. He's creeping up, man. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, Yeat got the Uzi monthly monthly listeners from the deluxe, or yo, it's over if he gets that Drake feature. I'm not gonna lie, it's over. Because Drake got so many fans. That's all Yeat got to do to surpass Carti. But that ain't happening. I actually don't know if the Drake feature will ever release. I hope so. But again, Drake's about to retire. He better get it out before Drake calls it quits, starts being an executive producer for Euphoria, or he continues to do that among other shows and movies, because that's where the big money's at. But yeah, it's not even fair, to be honest. Yeat's such a new artist. Also, Carti really don't drop that often, so he's kind of doing himself a disservice. But if we're talking about overall influence, he is a vampire, bro. Although, if you go to Yeat's, like, he's got his own aesthetic too, like the turbans and everything. Like, you can't deny that. I know a lot of people who are wearing Rick Owen because of Carti, but like his Yeat, you can't trash talk his aesthetic too. Like, what is this? This is like some bondage type thing. His girl's sticking her udders in each of these holes, squirting milk in there. Like, this kind of fly. I ain't gonna lie. And that's cool too. Although he didn't come up with the turban or the shiesty mask, to be honest. But he's got swag. Like, what is this? Bro looks like Rick Ross. He got like 20 pounds of clothes on him right now. And this, he just looks like he's a demon. He's really doing his thing. I'm gonna cry. It was crazy watching all this blow up. I appreciate whoever was spamming him in the chat in, like, I want to say February or March of 2021. I remember I was in like Boston or something. Somebody kept sending me War or War 2 or something. And I was like, what is this? Who is this? And I was like, this kind of sounds like just a whole lot of red. And then what do you know? It progressed into something crazy.